Okay. Now, aside the W-2 form, we also know that there is 1040. Now, what are those things that can be filed? You know, that purchasing tax, is it also fileable?
Okay, so as an individual, if you live in the United States, you either make money one of a few ways. You know, there are those who work for other people who make W-2 income, like we call them. You know, you go to work for other people, they pay you either bi-weekly, monthly, or semi-annually. And then at the end of the year, you get a W-2. You must be filing with the amount that is on the W-2. Then there are other set of people who work for themselves. You know, they have their own businesses. Those people, you know, they make money and then they also have expenses. For example, let's take a self-employed person, maybe a laundromat owner. I mean, they make a lot of money from the clients who come in every day. They also have a lot of business expenses. For example, they pay for the shops, you pay utilities, they pay for a lot of other things. So at the end of the year, those people have to combine their income with their expenses, and whatever is left over, which is a profit. That's what they are taxed on. So those are the people that need to keep receipts, you know, receipt of all of your expenses in the event that you are audited, so that you're able to defend those expenses to the IRS. So, and there are also other people, gig economy we are in these days. Everybody has a side hustle. You know, there are those Uber drivers. There are people who are online making money, you know, selling stuff on Amazon or eBay. Those people also need to keep track of their incomes and expenses, you know, and you know, those are the people who need to keep those receipts. But for W-2 people, people just go to work on a daily basis and get paid every month. And there are really usually no receipts involved for those people.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, it is a season, a very busy time for you. I want to believe that I mean,
Yes.
this tax season is one of the times that you guys will be so busy.
Oh,
So
yes.
now, hey, what are you doing to ensure that your clients are well served, especially receiving a huge refund?
Interesting. Well, we're doing a lot. One of the first things we do is invest in ourselves. We try to educate ourselves. We try to keep abreast of all of the tax law, know what is going on, know how it affects our clients, and how they can take advantage of the new and latest things that is you know, going on in the tax world, so that we can provide value to our clients. The other thing is we are also adapting with the times to better serve our client. We're investing in technology. You know, with COVID, a lot of you know, people prefer to stay at home to get things done. So there's no coming into the office. We're making sure that it's very convenient to serve people from the comfort of their home. We're doing Zoom meetings, a lot of that. We're investing in e-signature so that people don't have to come to our office to, you know, to sign their tax return. You know, we're putting out content on social media, you know, educating people about tax laws and tax changes, and, you know, making tax education very simple, very attractive for people to digest, you know. Yeah, a lot of things. And we're also making ourselves available all year round for consultation. You know, one of the things that I pride myself in is my availability. A lot of people patronize big franchises like, you know, H&R Block, for example. And H&R Block is open maybe from January until April, and that's it. The offices are closed. And if you have any task questions after the office is closed, you know, it's very difficult getting to talk to someone from H&R. But myself and in my office, you know, I operate an all year round office. So anytime, any day, my clients are able to reach me. So I make myself available. You know, I go above and beyond to make sure that my clients are well taken care of. You're never left hanging, left to deal with the IRS yourself. Or if you get a correspondence from the IRS off season, you know, we try to help you make sense of it and help you respond to the IRS. So these are some of the ways that we help our clients.
Okay. Now, thank you so much for that. This came to mind while you were talking. Perhaps some people have been, evading tax for a while. What is the penalty, the minimum penalty for this act?
I'm glad you brought that up because tax evasion is a serious thing, and especially when it is willful. When you're doing it intentionally, it's a very serious offense. I mean, it's a jailable offense. You can go to jail for it if you are caught. So, but the IRS, they know that there are a lot of people who have not filed taxes in a while, or who have not been filing taxes. Some of them may be willful, some of them may be ignorantly so. So they provide a backdoor for those people to come in. It's called the voluntary disclosure. So you have to come to the IRS yourself and voluntarily disclose that you haven't filed your taxes in 4, 5, 10, however many years. And when you do this, the IRS would allow you, let's say you haven't filed in the last 10 years, the IRS will say, okay, we'll make you go back 6 years, file the last 6 years return, pay what is owed, and you're good. And don't do that continue filing going forward. We'll forgive every other thing, the 4 years that you didn't file. So, but if you don't come in voluntarily, if for any reason the IRS find out that you have not been filing and you have not been reporting and you're caught, there will be there's no arrangement, there's no forgiveness of anything. You will be made to face the full wrath of the law. You'd have to, they'll make you go back to all of those years. And so there's no leniency there. So if you know that you have not been doing the right thing, you have not been filing, you're better off coming forth, reporting yourself to the IRS and getting some leniency.
Thank you for that. So for people listening, if you're a culprit, you need to work on it. Now, I want to believe that there were challenges last year because as I was reading the IRS website and they were talking about upgrading their system and all of those things that they are doing, all of the things that they are doing to ensure that this 2024 tax season is much more and better than it was last year. Now, what would you advise people differently to avoid any form of reoccurrence of whatever challenges that were faced last year?
Yeah. Much of the challenges that were faced last year were really on the IRS side. For example, if you had to call the IRS for any reason, you may be on hold for hours. Like I'm talking 2, 3, even 5 hours sometimes, because the IRS was not well staffed, and because there was COVID, and also the technology was outdated. But like I said, the IRS got a big boost in their funding in the year 2023. So this year they've been able to hire more staff, they've been able to upgrade their technology, so they have more bandwidth, so to speak, to respond to people. So this year, people can expect at least a lesser wait time on the phone to talk to the IRS, and they can expect a better turnaround. If you write to the IRS now, you might get a response within a very short time. So much of the improvement is really on the IRS side, and hopefully we would, as taxpayers, we would have a better experience this year.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Any final word as we round up?
Final words really to people who are living outside of the United States. You talked about people who have not filed for a long time. I think there's the notion. A lot of people think because they didn't live in the US, because they didn't make money in the US, they don't have to file US taxes. You have these people who have packed their bags and went to they packed their bag and went to different places. They live in Dubai, they live in Nigeria, they live in the UK now, but they're still a US citizen. They're still a green card holder. You still have a filing obligation every year. As long as you have that green card, as long as you have that US citizenship, you must be filing your US tax return. Now, This is what the US does. I mean, US is not unfair. If you in the country where you live, if you pay taxes, when you file your US taxes, the US is going to give you a break for the taxes you pay in that country. So say, for example, a US citizen who lives in and make money in the UK. So you made 100,000. Let's say the UK tax rate is 8%, but then the US tax rate is 10%. Now you filed your tax return in the UK, you've paid your 8%. You still have to file in the US. Now in the US, you owe 10% on that income, but because you've paid 8% to the UK government, you only have to pay the difference of 2% to the US government. And for example, if the UK charges 8% and US taxes is 8%, you paid in full. You don't have to pay anymore, but you still have to file. So I speak to those people who might be watching. You are a US citizen, a green card holder, you live outside of the US, you still have a US tax return obligation. Please make sure you file your taxes and you stay out of trouble.
Thank you so much for this enlightenment. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thank
to
you.
you out there, thank you too for being part of the show. I hope you've learned. If you have not been doing the right thing with your tax, I think it is the right time for you to actually do right by yourself. Until next time, when I come your way again with another exciting edition of Let's Talk, stay blessed and be happy. Bye for now.